What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about my thoughts on the performance of the Jordan Zion 4. The 3 was atrocious, so we're going to find out if the 4 is any better. First things first, they retail for 150 euros or dollars. It's a solid price, I would say, considering the tech you get with the shoe, but it's also maybe a little bit too high as there are some things missing that are essential for a good basketball shoe in my personal opinion. So let's get straight into it and start with the traction performance. We've got a very interesting pattern. It's got a lot of circles, waves, and very different type of patterns throughout the outsole. And it's a fully translucent rubber. On this pair we have the Jumpman logo in the heel, and then on the other pair we have Zion's logo in the heel. I really like that. I think it looks cool together, and that it's not the same exact design on both outsoles. In my opinion, looks pretty nice, as I said. It doesn't feel very durable. The rubber is maybe a little bit harder to move than I would have expected, but it's definitely not the best option for outdoors, so I wouldn't recommend it. Simply from a durability standpoint, I don't think it's going to hold up too well outdoors. Maybe if they're really solid rubber outsoles, maybe those are going to be a little bit more durable, but for now, for this colorway, I think it's called Mud to Sweat to Tears, something like that. I can't remember the exact name. Let me know down below in the comment section if you do. So yeah, it's not the most durable. How does it perform? As I said before, the performance on the Zion 3 was absolutely garbage, and you couldn't really play basketball with them. You could maybe go ice skating. Here it is actually way better. It's still not top tier by any means, but it's actually a really solid traction setup, and it does grip the court quite well. At first, they do need breaking time. So at first it's gonna be terrible. I mean, I wouldn't say terrible. It's not gonna be as good as with other shoes right off the box, but they do definitely improve over time. So if you have a pair and you're wondering, so what the hell is this? Why am I sliding around? Give them a little bit of time, maybe wear them to the gym once or twice, and that should do the trick. So they do improve. They are actually very reliable after that. Dust pickup, surprisingly, also isn't the worst. You can see here in the forefoot there is a little bit of dust pickup, but it's also not the absolute worst and way better than on the Zion 4. The heel is actually quite good, but let's be honest, most of the time you're on your forefoot anyways. So even on dusty courts, I would say it's a reliable setup. You do slip out from time to time, but it's nowhere near as catastrophic as on the Zion 3, which is a great thing, of course. That's it for the traction performance. Remember, give them time to break in, and better than the Zion 3, but not top tier. Moving on to the cushioning setup, this is by far my favorite aspect of the shoe and definitely the standout feature of the Zion 4. I mean, it kind of also makes sense that Zion's shoes have good cushioning, because just look at the dude, he's freaking massive and for sure needs a cushioning setup like this. So what do we have? We have a full length, and I mean full length Zoom strobe unit. Amazing, very bouncy, great compression underfoot. And then on top of that, I actually have to unlace them first. I actually just came back from the gym from playing with them, and I had them on the outside of my backpack, so that's why the laces were so damn tight. We have on top of the full length Zoom Strobel a Cushlon 3.0 drop-in midsole. So similar to what we saw on the Zion 3, just a little bit of a different setup this time, as we have this full length Zoom Strobel bed. It reminds me a lot of what we had on the KD 15, the KD 14, something like the GD Cut 1. Even actually the GD Cut 2 reminds me a lot of this shoe, as we have the full length Zoom Strobel plus a drop-in. I mean, we don't have that extra zoom unit in the heel and the drop-in, but that was too much anyways on the GD Cut 2. So a very, very nice cushioning setup. Stepping comfort is great, and what I like particularly about the drop-in is that they didn't give us a regular drop-in, but they added some, let's say, friction points maybe. You can see those little dots here on the drop-in, similar to what they did with Kobe drop-ins back in the day and now on the Pro Tros. That just gives you a little bit more friction, so your feet aren't sliding around on the drop-ins. Very nice, actually. SPO also does it on their Player 1 Plus. So that's definitely a positive feature and a positive add-on, also compared to the Zion 3, where we didn't have that. The Cushlon 3.0 itself is not the softest. It's okay in terms of impact protection, but really the big amount of cushioning or the big amount of impact protection and comfort and what you're going to feel comes from the full length Zoom Strobel. That really gives you a very nice bouncy and soft feeling underneath your whole foot. Of course, court feel isn't the best. You're relatively high off the ground because of that full length Zoom Strobel, and you slap on the Cushlon 3.0 midsole. So court feel definitely isn't the best, but it's a very nice shoe if you need impact protection. So I'm hoping maybe when they release solid rubber outsoles, that is actually also going to be a nice option for outdoors if the outsole can be a little bit more durable, because the cushioning setup is definitely perfect for something like concrete courts where you do need a lot of impact protection in there. So that's my hope for other colorways. We'll have to wait and see on that. But just for the cushioning setup, as I said, very bouncy, great impact protection and comfortable underfoot for sure. Moving on to the support features, that's a downside for sure. I would have expected something more for Zion, especially for Zion. In my opinion, the 2 is actually still his best shoe. I haven't tried the 1, I have to say that, but the 2 was actually a really nice performer. And what I don't like here about the 4 is that we don't have a shank plate. So I know the drop-in now isn't in there, but it doesn't do that much for support anyways. If you try to flex it, it really flexes very easily and a little bit further back than I like it. I like the flex to be in the toe area and not towards the midfoot area. Also, if you should try to twist and turn it, it just doesn't feel very stable. And in addition to all of that, this shoe has a crazy amount of heel slip. It went away a little bit after break-in, but because you have this double layer cushioning setup, you're kind of stacked up high and the cut of the shoe is very low, as you can see right here. So that's actually already a little bit of a problem because your foot isn't all the way down here. It kind of sits up here, which is just a predisposition for heel slip. And when I first hooped with them and I didn't lace them crazy tightly, my heel would be going up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's a very bad thing for basketball shoes because that can lead to heel or Achilles injuries very quickly. So I'm definitely disappointed in the support features. We don't have a shank plate, as I said. The laces work okay, but maybe they should have made the shoe a little bit higher or added, I don't even know if an extra lace loop would help against the heel slip because this cut here is just so low. So maybe just a tiny little bit higher. I do like the look overall of the low cut, but for support, it's definitely not the best thing. Apart from that, that's already it for the support features. Last but definitely not least of the performance categories are the materials. We have an all synthetic upper. It's kind of a mix of a fuse and mesh upper, and it's a little bit stiff at first. It also needs breaking time, just like the traction performance or the outsole does. The padding is adequate. The tongue is actually quite soft. That's nice. The laces don't cut into your feet. That's also a plus. And the heel area is padded adequately. I wouldn't say it's nothing all too crazy, but it's also not minimalistic. So it just gets the job done. As you can see, if you look here, the materials are actually a little bit soft, especially those overlays here, those fuse overlays. They are really stiff. In the middle, it's soft, but out here, it's pretty stiff. And probably most important question for me as a wide footer and for my fellow wide footers out there is, can you play with them if you have wide feet? I would honestly not recommend it. The Zion 3 was insanely narrow and these are better, but also not wide foot friendly in my opinion. So if you really have to do it, maybe go up half a size. I go up a full size on all my basketball shoes simply because my feet are so wide. Lengthwise, a size 13 US would fit me best, but the width of the shoes, I just need that 14 to fit my feet in there. And even with a 14, it's still pretty narrow, way more narrow than something like the Book 1, for example, or the KD17 or the Sabrina 2 from Nike. Even the Jordan 39 in the same size has a more accommodating fit for wide footers. So I wouldn't recommend these if you have wide feet, especially if you have extremely wide feet. And let's be honest, the performance isn't top tier that I would say, oh my God, you have to get this basketball shoe even if you have wide feet. So for narrow footers, they can definitely be a nice option. As I said, breaking the traction performance, you'll get really nice cushioning, give the materials some time, and you have decent support. It's not the worst. I maybe made it sound a little bit worse than it is. It's not top tier, it's nothing crazy, it's not even good I would say, but it's still just enough, especially if you're a lighter player. I just can't imagine Zion playing with these. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my review. If I left any questions unanswered, just comment down below and I'll reply to your comment and try to answer everything you want to know about the Zion 4 or any other basketball shoe. If you liked the video, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a subscription here. Helps me out a lot. Also leave a like on the video and as I said, leave a comment for the algorithm. Have a good one and see you next time.